Central Bank of Nigeria has denied a newspaper report that it has devalued the country's currency, the naira, pegging its value on 360 to one United States dollar. In a statement today by CBN Acting Director, Corporate Communications, Isa Abdul Mumin, the bank declared, and I quote, "We wish to state categorically that this news report, which in the imagination of the newspaper is exclusive, is replete with outright falsehoods and destabilizing innuendos, reflecting potentially willful ignorance of the said medium as to the workings of the Nigerian foreign exchange market. For the avoidance of doubt, the exchange rate at the investors and exporters window traded this morning, June the 1st, 2023, at 465 naira to one US dollar and has been stable around this rate for a while. The public is hereby advised to ignore the news report by Daily Trust in its entirety, as it is speculative and calculated at causing panic in the market. Media practitioners are advised to verify their facts from the Central Bank of Nigeria before publishing in order not to misinform the public." End of quote. The Federal High Court sitting in Awka, Anambra State this past week declared the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, as an illegal occupant of the office he is currently holding, delivering a ruling in a case brought before it by taxpayer Okechukwu Nwafo. Justice Fatun Riemann stated that the Inspector General's continued stay in office is against the clear provisions of the Police Act 2020, saying it is unlawful and unconstitutional. The court, in its judgment, further held that only an officer within the listed rank with 4 years in service can be appointed as Inspector General of Police, not one with less than 4 years. Now, joining us now to discuss the import of the Federal High Court ruling on this matter is a lawyer, Maxwell Opara. Good to have you on Newsday. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here once again. Thank you.
Now, Maxwell, I'd like you to tell us more about this ruling and what the significance, of this judgment by the Federal High Court sitting in Anambra is.
The judgment itself is just giving a judicial pronouncement on top of several judicial pronouncements that has been made in respect of this particular matter. The issue there is that on whether somebody who is not a police officer can be Inspector General of Police or can be appointed as one. I can't see the reason why the president, in gross violation of the laws, the Constitution and the Police Act, will appoint somebody who is not a police officer, who has ceased to be a police officer since first day of March, and they allow him to be wearing police uniform and acting as Inspector General of Police. We wrote to the president, we granted interview, we tried to let him understand that he's committing illegality. He refused on the matter until the matter now went to court, and the court ordered that he should, as a matter of fact, stop parading himself as Inspector General of Police. As I speak to you, the judgment was given last week. The Usman Babali Alkali is still there, unlawfully acting as Inspector General of Police, in gross violation of the judgment of the court, in gross violation of the Constitution, in gross violation of the Police Act. Are we in Banana Republic? The Constitution is clear. Once you are 60 years or 35 years of age, whichever that comes first, you cease to be a police officer. He has retired since first day of March, only for him to say that the president gave him an appointment extending his tenure. Can the president set aside the provisions of the Constitution? Is the President National Assembly that can amend the Constitution? Can you use presidential fiat to set aside the provision of the Constitution? All these things are in negative. So we are calling the new president, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, to, as a matter of urgency, stop this man from parading himself as a police, as an Inspector General of Police, and convert the meeting of a police council and appoint a new commissioner of police. Remember what he told us on the 29th day of May, when he was sworn in, that he's going to uphold the rule of law. This is the first one. That is why after 29th, on the 30th, I gave him a letter, and I asked him to act on that letter. As I speak to you, he has not acted on the letter. So what are we talking about? So Inspector General of Police, Usman Babali Alkali, should, as a matter of urgency, stop parading himself as a Inspector General of Police, because he's not a police officer. And he should stop wearing police uniform. He should stop going to that office to act as a police officer. It is illegality. It is aberration. It is gross violation of the Constitution. That is what we are saying.
Well, I'm sure you're aware that the force headquarters has asked Nigerians, to ignore the ruling and the news that he has been sacked, as the IGP still has the right to appeal the judgment. So how do you see this playing out at the appeal court?
In the first instance, the young man that the PPRO was is being appointed by the Inspector General of Police, and he is working for you don't expect him to say anything otherwise the Inspector General of Police will remove him. He is not a lawyer. If he is a lawyer, he may not understand what the law said. That you have filed what you call notice of appeal cannot operate as a stay. You have you obey the judgment of the court. Ask him whether the judgment of the court has been set aside. Is there any motion for stay? Assuming that you are filing a motion for stay, is there an express order for stay of that judgment? You see, most of the times when they are saying this thing, you need to have a law degree for you to know that once a judgment is being given, that judgment must be obeyed until it's been set aside. So this man is not a police officer. He's occupying that office illegally, and most of the documents he's signing, he's signing as a police, as Inspector General of Police, as a police officer. For you to be Inspector General of Police, you must be a police officer first. This man is not a police officer. Get it right. In line with Section 215. 215 of the Constitution, for you to be appointed as Inspector General of Police, you must be a police officer. Then, when you cease to be a police officer, you cannot appoint a police retiree as Inspector General of Police. That is the argument, and that was the reason why the court said. In fact, the court in the judgment said the president has no power whatsoever to set aside the Constitution, or set aside the provisions of the Police Act. Section 18 sub 8 said once you are 60 years or 35 years of age, whichever that comes first, you see, is a mandatory provision of the law. Even the Supreme Court and Court of Appeal has even stated it. Retirement is mandatory. It is not optional. Okay, since all this way, you can now see that some people, some directors, some DIGs, when they want to retire, they will start lobbying. That was what one of the worst in the past administration of President Buhari created for us. You see somebody will retire, you go and lobby so that they allow you. You will see a retiree will be working. There will be no progression. The younger ones will not grow. And that is one of the things that Buhari used to destroy the Nigerian army, the Nigerian military. Then they want to now drag it into the police. So we are calling Senator Ahmed Tinubu to, just as a matter of urgency, ask this man to stop parading himself as Inspector General of Police, because he's not qualified to be one. And that appointment, extending his tenure, it is unlawful, it is illegal. And the court has also made a pronouncement on it, so as to move forward, so that not to create a wrong impression towards that. There are many competent hands, ranging from the DIGs. There are many competent hands. The most senior person there should act. That is what the provision of the Police Act, which the president signed in 2020. President Buhari signed in 2020. After signing it, you are now for electing it. So we are saying that, no, we cannot continue in this manner. So he should respect himself. God has blessed him from 1 star to Inspector General of Police, and you are looking for extension just to destroy the system because of your selfish interest. It doesn't work like that. So I'm calling civil society group and some other NGOs to join the NBA, to join us, so that they cannot use this particular thing to destroy the system. We are talking about security. And moreover, the man has poorly performed. He has poorly performed. Since they made him Inspector General of Police, people have been killed. He is not doing anything. So he should live there as a matter of urgency, in line with the judgment of the court and the provisions of the Constitution.
Now, permit me to ask, it does seem that the law, is a bit contradictory. On one hand, he's retired at the age of 60, but I remember that a federal high court ruled in February that anyone appointed as IGP has a statutorily recognized 4-year tenure that is sacrosanct. So how do we explain this contradiction? How do we resolve such going forward? Do we need to take another look, probably, at the laws?
Which federal high court judgment? A federal high court judgment cannot set aside what the court has said in the case of Ishola and Ajibola. The Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal has stated it. Once you have retired, once the date of your retirement, nobody can extend it. It is a requirement of the law. The law said shall. If you want me to read it, I will read it. I have Police Act here. The law said shall. So whatever thing the federal high court law said, or the Federal High Court judge said, I don't know, I have not seen that particular judgment. The one we are talking about is the one given by the Federal High Court judge that was given in line with the Constitution and relying on the earlier judgment that has been given by Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court in respect of retirement. So once you are retired, you have ceased to be act in that office. You can be addressed as a police inspector general of police retired, not in active capacity, not in active. You cannot even wear that uniform. You cannot even sign any document in respect of that. And we are not saying that the president gave you a letter extending your tenure. And we are not asking, can that particular document given to you by the president through presidential fiat, can you now use it to set aside, to amend the law, to amend the Constitution? Are you not saying that you have not retired? Are you not saying that you are still a police officer? You are no longer a police officer. Since you are ceased to be a police officer, what are you doing in that office? Why are you still wearing that police uniform? This is what we call impersonation of the highest order. And everybody should ask this man to leave. So you are saying Federal High Court judgment given to him. Which Federal High Court? I have not seen that particular judgment. And if I see it, I would like to see what the judge said, that somebody who retired should continue to act. In what day? In what law? So if you are going to live for 200 years, you'll be in that particular office for 200 years. And then remember, this particular Inspector General of Police, when I filed this action against his predecessor, I'm talking about Ibrahim Adamu, he was one of those that were hailing Maxwell, saying that yes, you are doing well. Now it has reached your own turn. You are not turning around to say that the president gave you the distance. You know, you don't appropriate and reprobate. So we are saying that he should leave. I don't know the judgment you are talking about. We are talking about the judgment that was given. We are talking about the provisions of the Police Act. We are talking about the ground norm, the provision of the Constitution.
Mr. Maxwell, Opara, I'm so sorry, but we are completely out of time. We are completely out of time. Thank you so much for coming on Newsday. I do hope that justice will be served on this matter. Thank you so much for joining us.